Alrighty, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, it's I, the Noah Keune, joined here today by one of my men, one of my favourite people that's come into my life pretty regularly and pretty early actually. Pretty recently. Mr. Jordan, how are you?
Hey, bro, I'm good. Yourself?
Man, I'm living the dream. This is a long time in the making. I mean, we've been trying to do this for be a couple months now, surely.
Yeah, bro. Every week we've said, let's catch up, let's connect, and something's come up, bro, in our busy lives, but we've made it happen, eh?
We're here on this fine Monday afternoon. Well, night now, actually. We're at 6:30.
Set the mood, brother.
Yeah. We got all the lights going. There's that backlight as well, so once the camera turns off, there'll be some romance, and that's for sure.
For sure, brother. Dim the lights.
Man, you know what I'm doing. You know how I'm running it with this podcast. Yous are a big inspiration behind what I'm doing with this. It's a big goal of mine to talk to people about this mental health and men's mental health, and just describe a little bit about what you think. Describe a little bit about what you think men's mental health is in today's time, and what you think we should be doing about it.
Yeah, bro. So, currently, men's mental health in general, man, is just huge.
Yeah.
So much going on in the world at the moment, and has been for a while, especially, with COVID and war and just people, I guess you could say, seeing the lives that people live through social media. They want that life. They think that life is always positive.
Yeah.
So I think that's a massive one, is people living through people on social media and not realizing that they're only showing you what they want you to see and the positive things. So the biggest thing, man, is just breaking that stigma, getting blokes out there to actually be honest with the world and talk about what's going on in their life,
and
the
in
negative sides,
too.
bro.
Yeah.
And just a little bit into their life, and then that way people then, I feel, can relate, because hey, I'm not the only one going through this, or I don't feel like, my world's coming down around me. I want to live like that dude. Really, that dude's world's coming down around him too, behind the scenes. So, just breaking that stigma, and building a community, man. My aim is to build a community around currently Project Blokes, which obviously you're a big part of with us guys too.
Yeah. So go dive into a little bit of Project Blokes.
Yeah. So righto. So
the people I've spoken about it many times on here. But
so
what is your role and what are you doing?
Myself and JDL.
Yep.
Like I said, we were just chatting randomly one night. We were catching up.
And you boys know each other.
Yeah, bro. So we worked in the residential sector together, so that's working with children from child safety.
Yep.
So we worked in houses together.
So that's how you met.
Yeah, that's how we met, bro.
Okay,
Well, that's more or less how we met.
Yep.
And then we just kind of connected from there. Met up a few times out in the town on the piss, and had a few chats. And
so how long ago is this?
Bro, this is going back about 2.5 years ago.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
and then obviously we had chats, and we are just like, man, something needs to stop around this town. Rocky's a bit of a negative place, especially with the drug use that's going on.
Yeah.
And, you just see people, unhappy, but they're not willing to actually speak about it. So we thought, it'd be pretty cool just to start a bit of a men's mental health page. We know that there's men's mental health pages around town and, online, but there's nothing. They're just selling shirts, bro. They're selling a t-shirt and saying, hey, we're from so-and-so. Buy our t-shirt. Yeah, man, that is awesome.
Yep.
But we wanted to be doing the groundwork, man. We wanted to be
shaking the hands and kissing the babies, bro. Shaking the hands and kissing the babies.
So that's when we obviously started our Facebook page and Instagram page, and then just started posting things so people could then obviously see what we're posting, see what we're about, get a bit of engagement.
So this has been a 2-year-long project.
Oh, it's been a year, bro, in May.
Oh, okay,
we started, but we've been talking about it for a while.
Yeah.
So
it's been in fruition for 2 years.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, okay.
And then, so then we just started getting people to connect, and then we thought, we need to get out there in the streets. We need to be out there where people can actually see us in person and can probably have better conversations with us, when they're out in the street, we can have a men's circle or a men's group where men can come to, they can talk about their problems in person and not just be behind the computer screen or behind their phone. So yeah, we started walks, and it's taken off from there. So we've got a few events happening, and we've got some big things.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's this weekend we're having the GYG, correct?
Next weekend, brother.
Oh, okay, next weekend's the GYG.
Weekend, thanks to GYG who have sponsored the event and support us at Project Blokes. We're having a dinner at GYG on Sunday night, the 3rd of April.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah. I think it is
that's
the 3rd of
Sunday,
April.
bro.
Yeah, that's what I was... So it is this Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so this Sunday on the 3rd of April.
Bro. So they get to... People come... GYG are putting on food, and it's just for men to connect, check in, meet some dudes.
Well, I mean, it's a more welcoming situation. Like, I mean, we're all sitting down, we're going to be eating food, we're going to be, laughing bullshit like we normally do. It's what's the word? It's a lot more easy to just come into that situation and sit down compared to if we sat in a circle with chairs.
Oh, bro.
And we're sitting there staring at each other. It's obviously going to be a bit more.
Yeah, man. That's probably a difficult one for a lot of dudes to be able to. A lot of dudes probably wouldn't attend that. They would find it weird, bro. They would honestly really struggle with that. You want to make it like a place, community place, something that a bloke's going to come to. Like, everyone wants a free feed. Yeah. So, they get a free feed. Yeah. And, man, it's not all aimed around mental health. Like, man, it's just a place for guys to connect and have a chat. It doesn't have to be mental health related. It doesn't have to be negative. It can be positive. It can just be Joe Blow down the road that's new to town and wants to meet friends. Yeah. And, he wants to be part of something.
Well, it's breaking a stigma where men feel like they can talk.
That's right.
Because, like, we're not just here for mental health. We're here to communicate.
That's right.
Because a lot of men in today's time are so... they're so caught up with work and they're so busy in their everyday lives that they kind of neglect themselves and they don't focus on their own emotions. They don't focus on their own ways to communicate and get these feelings out.
Oh, 100%. And the thing is, we're like that icebreaker. People don't know who to contact. Yep. They don't know where to go. And at least they see us for who we are. We're showcasing what we look like online so people can say, oh, that's so-and-so. Yeah. They look like they're not bad blokes, So they know who we are. They know that we're not perfect because, we explain that through our posts. And, we're that first point of contact, that icebreaker for guys that may be really struggling. We can put them on to the right people. We can support them in that path.
See, I like the idea. I don't know if you want to elaborate on it, but what Jed told me is he said one day he wanted Project Blokes to be the entity. Yep. So there's no need to pass them on to anyone else. One day to build such a big organisation, to have the opportunity to have the in-house work.
Yeah, bro.
And be able to do it all in one. Yeah, well, I think that is such a good idea and a goal as well.
We've got plans and big plans, man. Plans and dreams. And we're currently working on like yearly goals, 5-yearly goals, 10-yearly goals. Yeah. Hopefully one day we can be something that's more than just Project Blokes, We can have something that's covering not just blokes. Yeah. So
people as an entity, people as one whole thing. Yeah.
We have people working under the Project Blokes banner that don't necessarily just work to support blokes. Yeah. So hopefully one day it's bigger than just that.
One question I wanted to delve into is like you've seen the process that I have. I kind of talk to people and ask them about what drove them and put them to their point that they're at now. So I mean, how old are you?
33, bro.
33 years young.
Yes.
Looking like you're 22.
I look 23, brother.
Yeah. Well, a question that I have is what kind of, obviously not every man's going to sit there and go, I'm going to start a charity, you'd say, for men's mental health. Yep. Give me a bit of the background. Like, obviously you've suffered from your own demons before.
Yeah. So, just trying to think where I should start.
Yeah. Well, what I would say is start from like a young fella. Give someone a background on the life. Where'd you grow up? You're a Rocky boy?
Yeah, so I'm Rocky boy, born and bred.
4701, bro.
Yeah, man. I've been here my whole life, pretty much.
What high school did you go to?
Emmaus College, man.
You went to the same one as me?
Graduated in 06, brother.
Yeah. 06 you graduated?
06, brother. You were probably
5
still
years
in
old.
grade 1. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so 06, went to St. Joey's PA.
I went to St. Joey's PA as well.
And then went to Emmaus, man. But yeah, like anything, like I grew up in a pretty good family. We went through, like my family went through a lot of illnesses, my parents. So they suffered a lot through that, but gave me everything, man. Like I'm so thankful for them. But then, like, you know, just growing up, turn 18, don't really know what you want to do in life. Man, I just, you know, you party with your friends, you hit the piss, you hit the party drugs, you do shit like that. And I think overall and over time, a lot of that affects you as well. You know, it's kind of just your outlet.
Yeah.
And when you don't know really where you're going or what you're doing, man.
You would have been, were you the first generation of, well, if you graduated in 06, then you wouldn't have been, like the first MSN, Facebook type of generation?
Bro. So I was MSN Messenger, bro.
Yeah, on the computer at home.
And it was dial-up.
Yeah.
Dial-up, bro. So, you know, you'd have your old girl inside saying, you know, you've only got an hour online, you know, because the phone's, you know, no one can ring you. Yeah. So, that was me, bro. I used to sit there on MSN, man, have a few hours a night to have chats with me friends. Yeah. And I think I was about 15, 16 when people started getting mobile phones.
Yeah.
And they were just like the Nokia 3310s.
The old bricks.
Yeah, bro. The old bricks with snakes and
Yeah,
man. But life was simpler, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm kind of glad I grew up.
You didn't have the pressure of social media.
Oh, 100% not.
This is what I
like, bro. There was none of that. Like,
yeah.
You didn't have to really get around like my dick's better than yours at all,
Yeah.
man. Like back then, bro, there was like, man, honestly, life seemed simpler. Well, it was simpler.
It was. You had footy,
bro. To see someone, you had to either call them, talk to them on the phone, and it was usually a home phone.
Yeah.
Or you had to go and visit them.
Yeah.
And man, that's the
or
problem.
Or you'd see them at school.
Yeah, man.
That's
and
the only
that's
thing.
the problem this day and age. Well, my opinion anyway is the generation coming through now, they don't know how to communicate because everything's done through a text message.
They know how to communicate on this,
that's right.
But when they're sitting face to face with someone, they struggle to get the conversation out.
You don't get that face value out of them.
Yep.
You don't see that expression.
Yeah.
Man, I think it's massive this day and age with people and phones. Is their heads buried in them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to communicate their problems.
Yep.
I think it's pretty huge at the moment, and it's sad.
I feel like it's going. It's obviously getting worse. I feel like it's going to get worse, and it will get worse if someone doesn't do something about it or doesn't limit it.
100%, and that's the problem. Like, you know, this day and age, everything's done like, you know, your apps to chat to another chick or a dude, whatever you do.
Yep.
All online, like through your Tinder, through, you know, Snapchat, all
Facebook,
that kind of things.
Instagram,
man,
Messenger, Twitter.
That's how people meet their partners.
Yeah,
it's
literally.
crazy, man.
Literally.
Like, you know, it just blows me away, man. And like, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I get caught up in the cycle.
Yeah.
Like, you know, everyone does.
Yeah.
I just think sometimes like we just need to take a step back and just look at the bigger picture.
Yeah. So, talking on that, I mean, you're a Joey's kid, you're an Emmaus boy. Growing up in those situations, you said it was a much simpler time. I mean, I've only interviewed you and Jed, so like you're the only old boys that I've interviewed, and by I don't mean old boys disrespectfully, you know what I mean? Like,
but yeah, bro.
Everyone else has been 18 and 20. So
yeah, man. Like I said, I grew up. Life was pretty good. I lived a pretty happy life. Like,
so you didn't see too much what you would say mental health growing up? You didn't experience much of it? Or?
No, like I said, it wasn't really spoken of.
No.
It was just you didn't hear about it.
Just a typical.
Even back then, you wouldn't even hear about it. Like if someone said to me they're depressed, I'd think they're weird.
Yeah, okay.
100%, man. I'd be like, what the fuck? What are you unhappy about?
Yeah, what is there to be unhappy about? Yeah.
You know, fair enough for people that are ill and they've got life struggles, but you know, just your normal everyday bloke that has more struggles than you'd realise.
Yeah.
I'd be like, what are you depressed about, man? You know, it was kind of like there wasn't much conversation around it, and
that's the stigma that we're starting
to
break
man.
down.
And like, well, going back, my grandfather took his life.
Okay.
That's how crazy, and that's how far it goes back, and you would never talk about it back then.
Yep.
And like so, my granddad took his life while I was in the womb with my mum.
Yep.
So obviously that affected my mum.
Yep.
Which has also then affected me, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's where there's trauma, you know, that's passed on through all that as well.
Yep. So has your mother talked about him?
And that's the thing, Mum never really spoke to me much about it. My parents always kind of like, you know, they protected me, I feel, from a lot of things, like through all the illness, through cancers and stuff. I never once seen my mum or dad cry, upset, blame. Like, I really, like, hold that pretty close that they were like that with me, man, because I think, like, definitely it affects kids, and there's certain things that kids don't 100%. Really need to always hear.
100%.
As kids, they need to be kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, so obviously I've spoke about that a bit more with my mum through the older years. here and there, and just the stresses of business, and
Yep.
he had a lot on his plate, and often he would try to commit.
Yeah,
And my
okay.
dad's pulled him up, and
Bailed him up, yeah.
yeah, often family tried to stop him, but one night it was just obviously too much.
In the
And
end, it got him, yeah.
So I never really knew a lot about that, and then I've had like other family members obviously commit suicide.
Well, what Jed posted on Instagram, was it this morning or yesterday? He said yearly, 400 and something, but half a million
510,000 people yearly, bro.
commit
suicide, man.
males.
Yep.
Males. Half a million.
Yep.
Half a
Well,
million
it's
males
crazy, bro.
commit suicide
Yep.
a year worldwide.
Yep. So yeah, that's the problem.
That statistic alone is
man, like that
gobsmacking.
doesn't that not warrant like further supports?
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
what's the world doing? They're all caught up in like other things,
Yep.
other not even other illnesses like wars and all that stuff. But there's so much other stuff going on in the world that needs further support around it, but that doesn't, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes you think like, what are they doing?
Yeah, but then you can get into a rabbit hole. Then you can
Oh,
say
100%.
then you can say they want us to be like that because then it's a controlling demeanor.
Oh
and
man,
it can,
yeah, like you could probably talk about it all day, But yeah, so like I said, mental health has been pretty big in my family. My dad now suffers from depression.
Yep.
Since he's retired, it's intensified, I guess.
Yep.
So I deal with a fair bit of that with my family, and I give a lot of support to me mum around, me father,
Yep.
and having chats with her, chats with him. So
that's a big driver behind what you're doing,
bro. Yeah, massive. So the biggest drive around what I do is firstly through family.
Yep. Or first-hand experiences.
The unknown, like I always think back to like grandfather when all that went down, like how hard that must have been for like my mum and my whole family to
And
go
him
through.
as well,
And
even.
him as well.
Yeah.
Like I could never imagine, coming home from work to hear that someone from my family has taken their life. Like, bro, that I don't even know where to begin with that. Like, that's something else, man. And so, that's what the whole idea of Project Blokes is. If we can break a bit of the stigma, create a bit of awareness, help someone in the community, man.
Just one person.
Oh, man.
That's
one
what
person.
I say every podcast. Just one person.
One person. And at first it was one person, but now we want to create a community where we can start supporting more than that.
Yeah.
We want to go bigger. We want, we want community awareness.
Yep.
We want people to speak up. We want people, to be supporting other people, man.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where, for me, holding it close, that's where that stems from. And I guess that's why I believe I'm destined to be a helper/healer.
Yep.
I think that's my calling. Well, that's my journey, bro. So I feel that through Project Blokes, hopefully I can,
Evolve.
do a little bit of that.
Yeah, evolve into
And
what
hence
you wanna
why I'm
become.
in the industry now of support work.
Yeah.
It's a strength, and I've definitely found where I belong.
So coming into the the early late years of life, out of becoming a teenager and getting into the type of the party scene basically, did you kind of see the evolution of? You said you had a great life growing up and you didn't really suffer from any of these mental illnesses.
Yep.
Did you kind of see that start to evolve around you, and also yourself going into adolescence and going into the older years of your life? Or
man, I never really suffered with, I was kind of, you could say I used to get nervous around a lot of things because I used to obviously have that kind of perfectionism ingrained into me. So I like to perform at the highest level with everything I'd done.
Yeah.
So, you could say I'd get a little bit anxious around things, but I didn't really understand or know. And then I went through
your brain didn't connect it to be anxious. Yeah.
And then going through like young adult years, through my early 20s, man.
Yep.
Like when I say I didn't have care for a lot, I did care for things. I had a heart, but man, I used to just go out every weekend, piss me money up the wall, party all weekend, have no money for the rest
So what was the early year jobs? What were you doing?
So I left school. I was a apprentice tiler and waterproofer.
Oh,
Smashed out my trade.
Yep.
Done that for a fair bit of
So
years.
18 to 22 was the apprenticeship.
Yeah, about that.
And then you did a fair few years after
and
that.
then I
as
done
well.
a few years after that. Then I ran my own business.
Mhm.
Had up to 5-7 guys working for me at once.
See, but right there, that's kind of your own business. That's a lot of stress. That's a lot of...
Bro, that's where it all probably developed, man.
Okay.
That's where my pockets were full and they started to just pile out the sides. Like, it was just becoming very overwhelming, and running a business was like
to run it with.
Yeah, it was kind of like triggered off a lot of things, just through the stresses of running a business, man. It's not just me that I had to worry about. I had workers,
7 other boys.
Man, yeah, I had workers,
Insurance,
Oh,
everything,
bro.
everything.
It used to cost me and I was only a small business owner. It used to cost me at least $15K a week.
Yeah.
Before me making any money to myself, I'd have to outlay roughly 10 to 15K every week with materials and for pays, for bills, for everything.
Yeah, insurance is everything.
Oh yeah, man.
Jesus.
And like, it was nothing for a builder or someone not to pay me. And I'm thinking, how am I going to pay these boys?
Yeah, how am I going to get food on the table?
You know, and it was more them that I'd worry about than myself.
Yeah.
And like, no one ever really knew. Like, I always paid them. There was never any issues.
Yeah.
Because things would kind of always fall in place. But man, it was often that builders wouldn't pay, man.
Life's got a bit of a funny way like that.
Oh, bro, it was
shit
crazy.
Yourself until about 5 minutes beforehand, and then bam.
Man, and that's the way I've kind of looked at life since then. Like, there's always for me, it feels like there's always a way, or I will create a way.
Yeah.
You know, obviously it's not always going to go to plan, but majority of the time, I like to be thrown in water and be told to swim.
Yeah.
That's where I think I'm at my best, man. That's where I achieve the most.
Yeah, the pressure on the head.
Man.
I'm exactly like that as well.
And honestly, it's probably not always good
No.
to operate like that.
No.
But, you know, that's where I feel like I've achieved the best things in life.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I said, going back to running business, man, very stressful.
What was the like the thought? Like, what made you sit there and go, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to start my own business.
I was working for a guy and work went quiet.
Yep.
But I was pumping out a few cashies and stuff on the side, and I had builders that were keen. So I was like, well, this guy doesn't have work. I know I can get work.
Yeah.
So I started doing like my business management course. Went and got my QBCC license. Yep. And went out my own, man. And that's how it all kind of started. But the worst thing was, bro, I didn't actually even like tiling. I just done it for a job. And
money in the pocket.
Man, yeah, that's all I seen was dollar signs. And honestly, I didn't even enjoy running the business. Like, there was no passion. I didn't have enough drive behind it. All it was money.
Yeah.
And
when money rules, when money's when money's the number one goal, it's never going to end out well.
Man, it's that, like, money does bring happiness, but not all happiness.
No.
Money only creates so much.
Correct. Yeah.
And yeah, that's where I was like, it just got too much for me. And I was like, well, I'm unhappy. All I'm doing is working. Yeah, honestly, for me, there was no drive, there was no passion, so it was time to get out of there.
Yep. And what at that time, like when you started this, because you've obviously had multiple relationships.
Yep.
When you started that at 18 years old, up until the time you ended your own business.
Yep.
You obviously had relationships. You obviously had women come into your life.
Yeah, I had a few relationships, bro. And through the time of having a business, I was in a quite serious one where I was engaged.
Yep.
And that kind of fell apart. I suppose business stress could have related to it as well. You know, there's
it's all a compounding factor.
Heaps of shit that went on. But then at the end, when I was kind of just lost the desire, lost the drive for business, I thought, well, you know, I still had money in the back of my brain. So I was like, well, I need to earn so much money. So that's when I went down the path of the mines.
Oh, so you did mines as well?
Yeah, so I left the tiling business and more or less shut it down.
Yep.
Prepared all the guys, gave them months in advance. They all found jobs, you know, so it wasn't just like I just shut my business down.
Yeah.
Done that, went out to the mines, and from day one, bro, I hated it. It was honestly
7 on, 7 off.
7 on, 7 off. I worked out at Middlemount.
12.5-hour days, 13-hour days, basically.
More or less. Yeah. By the time you leave in the morning and get back, you're looking at 12, 14-hour days.
Wake up at 4 in the morning, 3:30 basically.
And it wasn't so much like the job was all right. It didn't suit me, but it was more the isolation, man. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of a social guy that likes to be surrounded by people.
Yeah.
So that's where I really struggled, was the isolation, man. Yeah, it just knocked me for 6. So I would go to work, honestly, and this is what I used to say. I didn't feel like this. I didn't want this to happen. But heading out to the mine site, I pretty much said, what's the biggest tree that I can line myself up with?
Yeah.
Driving home, I was fucking fist pumping. So that was the difference, bro.
Yeah.
That was the difference. I wasn't going to line myself up with a tree.
No.
Like, I wasn't depressed. I was just unhappy about the circumstance. But in saying that, those 12 to 14 months that I worked out the mines, I probably learnt a fair bit about myself.
Yeah.
And it was good to kind of feel isolated and lonely.
It's you, yourself, and I.
That's
like
right.
You're learning everything that's going on in your head.
That's exactly right, man.
Your
I felt
emotions are
isolated and
amplified.
lonely, and I wasn't used to spending that time alone. So the time alone, I spent thinking about a lot of things.
Yeah.
And in ways, like, I take a positive from it.
Yeah.
So, like, when I
lining,
first started, man, there's this guy there, my trainee, because I was a trainee driller. So I was a drill operator.
Oh, drill offside. Yeah.
So I used to operate big, massive drill rigs
Yep.
and drill for coal. So I'd be operating this $4 million rig.
Yeah,
just
right.
me just cruising around in this thing. It's pretty cool, man.
Is that open cut or under?
Open cut line,
okay,
yeah. So that's what I used to do. But the trainee guy, he's like, I remember the first week, there's one thing that stuck out for me. He's like, do you listen to podcasts, bro? I said, what the fuck? I said, that's weird, bro. I said, no way. Who listen to a podcast? And he's like, man, trust me, after about 3-4 swings, you'll be listening to them. I said, yeah, righto, dude. And he was a cool dude, and I really took a lot from him. After about 3-4 swings, I was listening to podcasts.
Yeah, you
and
jumped
because,
on
bro, I felt like I was going dumb. Like, you know, you're in there like a monkey just swinging levers, bro. And, like, you could almost do it in your sleep.
Yeah.
So I felt like I was going a little bit brain dead, a little bit dumb. And because I had so much time to think, I thought, well, you know, I should put a little bit of this time to use.
Mm-hmm.
So I started listening to like personal development podcasts and podcasts about like different things, people going through average times in life.
You ever listen to Joe Rogan?
Yeah, I used to listen to Joe Rogan, but a lot of influential people. And I used to try and look for, like, you know, there's your big guys like Jordan Peterson, you know, like there's your big guys from like overseas and that. But I really wanted to try and find guys in Australia that were a little bit smaller, but who I could maybe more relate to.
Model yourself off.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. So there's a few guys that I used to listen to and a few different podcasts. And, man, I learnt so much through them. And they honestly, listening to those podcasts most mornings or most nights, they got me through most of my shifts and through a few of the hard times.
Yep.
But then, yeah, it all come a bit too much. Like I went through, obviously, a relation. Oh, no, actually, I didn't go through a relationship breakup then. What kind of made me come back to town was me old man had another heart attack while I was out there on a night shift.
Yep.
And I thought to myself, like, there's more to life to being unhappy and being out here where I'm not happy.
Yeah,
and
a big motivation is also you get that call, right?
Yep.
You're
3.5 hours.
Yeah, 4 hours away. You get the call and you're around the corner. There's a big difference for yourself.
And man, I was on night shift. It was like 9 at night. My mum called me, and I was like, yeah, you know what? There's more to life than this. I rang my boss straight up. I was in tears, man. I was pretty upset.
Well, as you would be.
Drove back to the camp, got in the car, and never went back.
So that was the last time you did
that
it.
Was the
you got the call and you
but I did, like I said, I rang the boss.
Yeah.
Told
you did all the precautions,
and just said, you know, I'm not in a good space right now.
But
and then that's when I went back to Thailand until I got the gig in support work, and never looked back, bro.
So what, being in that mine site and working around all these, well, it's majority men. It's 98% men basically.
Yeah.
What was the mental like? There's got to be a lot of blokes out there like you.
To be honest, most people say they don't want to be there. There's a small majority that love it.
Yeah.
A lot of them are usually getting away from their families that want to be out there.
Yeah.
But most guys don't really want to be there. It's pay at the end of the week.
Yeah.
It supports their family. It lets them live a more comfortable life.
Yeah.
But most guys that you go out there and talk to, from where I worked, weren't really that happy, man. They'd indulge in food. They'd drink bulk piss at night. They'd be up the pub. So they're spending their money anyway.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't really that happy, man. And that's what, like, I sense a lot of things. And through working on site, there was just that feeling, man, of a lot of unhappiness. I didn't connect. I didn't really fit in, bro. I just didn't fit in with the people out there.
Yep.
And, to me, that added to the negativity of what I was thinking. So
you felt left out.
Yeah, in ways. Like, I get along with anyone and I can talk to anyone, and I had no issues with that. I just felt like it was just negative from the get-go, and a lot of that was probably from my mindset as well.
Well, it's also the vibe and the persona. Like as you
yeah.
said, if they're out there drinking the piss
Yeah,
up the
man.
wall and they're wasting themselves, obviously it's gonna put a negative feeling on
And
you.
then I'd end up the pubs, sometimes because I didn't want to sit in this donger on my own, lonely, bored, isolated, and like I wasn't the best sleeper as it was, so it was a real struggle for me where like a lot of the guys would just go back to their rooms and they'd just sit in their room and I guess that's
Go through the
cool
motions
for some dudes and that's fine, but yeah, man, after 12, 14 months I just couldn't do that anymore.
Gave it the flick.
Yeah, man. And like I said, there's more to life than being unhappy, and key to life is happiness. And sometimes you've just got to, most of the time, you got to put yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to put myself first and how I felt first. And by that meant coming back to town.
Yep. So what? You made that move back. You came back. You decided to give it the flick and come back to that normal city cycle of life.
Yep.
What? You had the missus at the time.
Yeah, I had my missus at the time.
And that was a serious relationship.
Yeah, we went through. That's
the
we were
engagement.
engaged.
Yep.
We went through a breakup 3 months before our wedding.
Sure.
Yeah, man. So that was pretty heavy. Plus, we had like house and everything together. Yep. So I had to go through all that while starting a new job and studying and trying to sort my life out more or less. So yeah, that was kind of, I guess, rough times for a bit. But I dealt with that pretty good.
Yeah. So
like
what are some of your tools? I might ask. Like obviously now you've done a lot of self-help courses or you've studied a lot of self-help. But back in that day, what was a tool for you?
Through those days, I learnt a lot through podcasts. So I used to really relate back to the guys who I'd listen to. Mm-hmm. So a tool for me was listening to podcasts.
Yeah, okay, because then you could connect it.
Yeah,
and
I could connect.
He feels like
built
that.
up.
Yep.
And I didn't feel like I was alone.
Yep.
I felt like I'm feeling this because of this. It's normal. Mm-hmm. I'm not. It's not unnormal to feel like this because these guys who I listen to on these podcasts, who are professionals, who have gone through it or have spoke to people who've gone through it, know firsthand.
Yeah.
So for me, a big one that helped me through was podcasts, man. I used to listen to podcasts all the time.
That's all I listen to now.
Yeah, bro. And then secondly was getting out and moving, getting back into the gym, getting out into nature. So physical activity.
Yep. Just walking.
Bro,
literally
just
walking helps.
Just walking outside your bed. Like, people that sit in their bedroom all day. Just walk outside your bedroom, walk down the stairs, walk out into the yard and just, feel what's around you.
Observe it.
Yeah. So a big thing for me was obviously like physical activity, getting out in nature. I love looking at views, so often I'd go up to like places like Mount Archer, and I'd just sit there and think, man, and just be with Earth, man. Just be surrounded by nature, bro. Yeah. It smelt good, it felt good.
I don't know. I'm not a religious man or anything like that, but I still feel like I just feel like everything is connected at the end of the day.
Oh,
and when you're sitting there and you're just one and you're in that moment,
and
there's no distractions, there's no phone, there's no nothing, and you can just process all this, and it just comes into your heart and it comes into your mind. You really do feel connected.
It just really slows everything down for you.
Yeah.
And so I spent a bit of time trying to practice on breath work.
Yep.
Really struggled, man. Probably didn't give it the respect that it deserved. So obviously that wasn't a tool that I used. It is now.
Yep.
But like I said, so the big ones were podcasts for me.
Yeah.
Getting out in nature, moving, and obviously now slowing down my breathing and just being present in the moment and feeling my shit, man. So like, if I'm feeling like crap, if there's something going on in life, instead of like trying to ignore it and like throw it in the back, I'm owning that shit. Like, yeah, man, I feel like shit today. It's fucking really shit.
And why do I feel like shit today? Yeah.
And I know that. And then I try and connect it with why I might be feeling like shit.
Yeah.
And then I accept it.
Yeah.
I chill for a bit. I feel it. And then I move on, man. Mm-hmm. And then, man, even if you want, you can always give yourself that time at the end of the day. If you want to push it away, as long as you reflect on what you're feeling or what you've gone through.
Yeah, what's making you feel like that.
Because otherwise it's just going to be a revolving circle, man.
That's
I know
an
it's
issue.
easier said than done, bro.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time to actually train yourself to do it.
It takes a lot of guts.
Yeah, man.
At the end of it.
Yeah.
Because you got to think, like, even myself, I struggled really, really bad with that growing up. I feel like, because I've had a bunch of situations and I've done a lot of things and seen a lot of stuff. But even like relationships, man, you'd break up with that chick and then you'd just reflect on it, and you wouldn't let that feeling go. You just keep telling yourself.
And that's the hardest thing. And like I said, like those feelings are going to be there. You're going to have shit days.
Yeah.
It's normal to have a shit day. Not every day can be a perfect day.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest thing.
Well, it's yin and yang. It's dark and white.
That's right.
It's you can have all this happiness, but for you to have all this happiness, you must have dark. You must have the dark times.
And you must go through the dark times to feel the good times.
Yeah.
Like, and if you're not working through those emotions, through the tough times, through the trauma, well, you're not going to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And like, that's just how it is, man. And that's like, I've been there. I feel that, and like I said, I still have me shit days, but I know that there's always going to be a good day.
Yeah, there's always going to be that smiling.
Yeah.
So what, that was, you come back into that Thailand, how long ago was that? Roughly around this.
Roughly 3.5 years ago, man. But it was only, because I had a plan in place, it was only for like a month or two.
Yeah.
Because I knew I had a job to go into.
Yeah, and you went into that, and that's where you met Jed, and that's where that.
Yeah, that's where
the
Jed.
experience
That's where that
started
connection
sparking.
was, and that's where I even learnt more and more about myself, man.
Yep.
Through working with underprivileged children, seeing what they've gone through, I'm like, holy shit! Like, I'm not saying my life was really bad, but
there's other people out there. That,
oh man, and like
worse,
at the end of the day, these poor kids, they don't even have a mum or dad to go home to at night. At least I had somewhere to go. Like a lot of the time, they have no one. They have me, who's working with them. So I learnt so much from these kids that they didn't even realise. So much that I took from that, and kind of realised like, hey, my life ain't so bad. So yeah.
I mean, it's got to be. Well, by the sounds of it, you've obviously experienced. Like there's probably 4 stages of different parts of your life that you've really experienced.
Yep.
And with us talking about Project Blokes and with all that, what are your personal goals that you yourself aiming for? So not for what we want Project Blokes in 5 to 10 to 15 years. Yep. What are your goals that you want to hit in the next 5?
Yep. So my current goals are personal development, like I said. Yep. Working on myself, working on my mission and my purpose in life.
Yep.
That's currently where I'm at.
And discovering more purposes in life.
And just finding out who I really am and unlocking the potential that I actually do have that I don't give myself credit for.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, me number 1 at the moment.
Yep.
And then, obviously, hopefully creating something, well, not hopefully, creating something, which we currently am with Project Blokes. And then, that's pretty much where I'm at, bro.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's basically the same premise as me, but a big thing that I see in you is that you're very, this is me and this is who I am and this is how it's going to be. Like, you'll spit the shit, but then you're like, this is how it is.
Yeah.
You got to understand that, and you got to accept that, and you got to work with that.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, like on the exterior and how I talk, that's definitely there.
Yeah.
But like, I'm only just really learning that. I've only just been scratching back the surface for that. I've lacked a lot of confidence, bro. Yeah, and a lot of people don't realise that.
Yep.
But that's one thing that I'm really working on is my self-confidence, man, because I know I've got the potential, but I haven't been confident enough to back myself, man. And that's where I'm really starting to realise, hey, no, I can do this, man. I can do anything.
Yeah. Oh, well, a big thing is if you're lacking confidence in yourself, the people around you, not for say see that, but they feel that.
Oh, yeah.
And they lack confidence as well.
That's
if you walk into the room beaming, smiling, acting like a happy chap,
man.
Not overconfident, but you are trying to be happy with people.
That's right.
They're going to feel that, see that, and then repercuss that.
Oh, yeah, man. They're going to want to mirror that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, bro. So, like I said, so much personal development lately, even more so lately, is going into it.
Yep.
But like I said, I've been working on myself for years, and it takes time, man. And that's all I can say to people. Like, you won't see
it's not
results always at the start.
Nah, it's not like a weight loss pill.
Nah, man. You've honestly got to be consistent with yourself. And the biggest thing is routines, man. Stick to those routines.
Yeah.
And, because we honestly need routine in our life. Like, I know I need routine and structure. Yep. Without that, I'm a mess.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I said, there's all these little things that make up who we are. and that I'm slowly starting to
discover
realise.
it all.
Yeah, man.
So listen, I mean, evolving into the next segment, the premise of it is we're here to help people and we want to help people.
Yep.
For people sitting out there and listening, they could be listening to every podcast. They could be brand new listening to us right now. What are some tools and some experiences that you want to give someone and explain to them?
Yep.
Like, this is what you're able to do if the situation arises.
Yeah, man.
The mental health side of things. What are some things that you have to speak on?
So, like I said, if we're relating back to tools, number one, don't be afraid to ask.
Yep.
You need to ask. If you need help, ask for help.
Yep.
Like, that is vital, bro, because no one can help you unless you start helping yourself.
Yep.
So you need to speak. And the biggest thing is, a lot of the time, people don't know something's up with you unless you do speak, because people are so good at masking that, man.
Yep.
And it's the people that you don't expect that are really struggling.
The
So
happiest.
number one, bro, is speak.
Mhm.
Number two to me is movement.
Yep.
Get up, move. Get out of bed. Don't lay in bed all day dwelling. Get up and move. Like I said, even if it's walking down the back stairs, walking out in nature and having a look.
Mhm.
So movement would be number two for me. Number three would be like journaling. So like writing down how you feel.
Getting the mind
positive,
from out, getting
negative,
the minds from out of here
doesn't-
onto here.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, man. What could be just a load of fucking shit.
Yeah.
But write it down and reflect on it. The other thing, number four, would relate a little bit with number three is sit with how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, acknowledge, today I woke up feeling like shit. I know I feel like shit. What could be causing me to feel like shit? You know, just go through a little bit of a questionnaire with yourself. Like,
Yep.
you know, I'm aware that I'm feeling like shit. What's making me feel like shit? What could I do to make myself feel better? So just those kind of things. And then find what works for you. Things work differently for certain people. Like I said, some people might like to get out and do some fitness.
Yeah.
Some people might like to sit there and be present with how they're with their breathing.
Yeah. Or
Some
read a
people
book.
might like to body scan. So, you know, they might look at their hand and, you know, just examine their fingers all the way up their arm, you know. Certain things like that. There's heaps of different things you can do.
Okay. See, man, listen, I'm not going to hold you forever.
Yep.
I just want to say, man, I just want to say that I'm seriously proud, and
Yep.
and it's a big motivation for what I'm seeing you do and what I'm seeing you boys do. And yeah, I'm sure everyone out there, if you are watching and you haven't subscribed or you haven't followed or liked any of the pages, the links will be in the description. Project Blokes is going to be a big thing in everyone's life. I feel like around
Yeah,
us,
100%,
surrounding
man.
us, and it's going to be involved in us for a long time. And you know, hopefully one day it's something bigger than all of us, and you know, hopefully one day we're 6 foot under, and it's.
There's a legacy there, bro.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's what I want to create. So,
So listen, man. I just want to thank you.
Yep.
I mean, I'll let you go. It's getting late. It's almost bedtime. But I just want to thank you, man, and hopefully one day you can come back on. And
yeah, bro, for sure.
like you said, you're doing all these courses, and you're doing more self help.
Yeah, man. Well, like I said, just in conclusion, man, if I'm not doing these things to better myself, to learn more about myself, how can I be out there providing this information?
How can you
to other
preach
people,
it
bro?
if you're not?
That's
yeah,
right.
If you're not living it.
That's
yeah.
right, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But no, I appreciate you getting me on here, bro, and
you're
look
right,
forward to working with you even further. And any of you guys listening today, make sure you cruise over to Rocky Nat's Easter weekend. Myself and Noah and the rest of the Project Boys
Yes,
will be
sir.
there.
Yes, sir. We'll be there. We'll be
we
there.
hope to see you all there.
We'll have some pretty faces on, some nice looking shirts. But listen, man, it's been your boy Noah Keune. This is the Altruistic Podcast. Yeah, it's us. We're signing out, man. We're gonna do our own thing. I'll see you boys later.
Peace.
Peace out.